Hammer time.
Let's talk about Doom Patrol. Welcome, everyone. This
one gets to be spoilers.
This is spoiler
Oh,
filled.
I'm so much happier. I'm so much happier. Oh, yay.
We did, if we could tell you guys this, we recorded back-to-back reviews, which you should go watch, of episode 1 of Doom Patrol on the DC Universe app. Super fun.
Yes.
And now we get to unleash the spoiler-filled review for episode 2 of season 1, Donkey Patrol. Following Mr. Nobody's capture of the Chief, the Doom Patrol investigates the mysterious albino donkey, and I forgot it's albino, and discover it's a door to another universe where Mr. Nobody is in control.
This is a great moment to point out one of my favorite aspects of the show is the way the end of the first episode is Robotman gets his big hero moment where he's in the city and he's able to convince everybody to get in there, and then the donkey farts out, what is the mind is the limit or something like that?
Yeah.
And the whole town starts getting sucked up, and he's just like, wait, what's happening now? Hold on a second. Wait, what just happened?
It's so essential that there is a character like that because the other ones have been going through this for longer and we are confused, rightfully so. Where did the town just go?
Yeah.
I needed somebody to express,
Yeah.
Like,
this also
what?
Well, clearly the town went in the donkey.
Yeah, exactly.
The town went in the donkey.
And there's a keyhole and we go into it.
yeah.
You didn't get that?
Yeah.
This
Idiot.
episode begins with 2 of my favorite jokes, maybe in anything ever. One is the random roach that is basically shouting out to God that, like, yes, you're finally destroying them. I get to rule the world. This is my moment. And then he gets sucked into, I think, followed by Mr. Nobody, Alan Tudyk. We didn't get to talk about the thing, but the idea of having your narrator basically be God and also the villain is such a great premise.
He's so amazing.
But he gets the line, he's like, the chief calls him out. I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, Grant Morrison fans, Reddit trolls with DC subscriptions, and the 3 people that stayed around after the donkey farted. It's such a good bit.
I don't know if this is an inappropriate comment or weird, but he would never think his voice would sound like that with the way he just doesn't look like his voice.
That's
like
fair.
his voice does not match his face.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
don't know how to phrase that any better, but like I'm so pleasantly surprised every time with just how like weird and off and strange it makes me feel.
Yeah.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, in the best way. He's so good.
One thing I would like to point out, now that we see Mr. Nobody, let's call it comic accurate as best as you could, because Mr. Nobody looks...
Is that a question mark face?
It's a question mark face, but it's like all black, like ink got up and started walking around. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
And he has an eye and half of a mouth. And so, like, this is the closest, but you need Alan Tudyk's, like... You need him to emote. You need that, and I like having it. But when you see him walk around, I'm like, I don't hate this, but it is weird. This is because also like I wonder what somebody who got like even like, the fans that are new and don't know who that is.
Yeah,
I barely know who that is.
Yeah.
Are they confused? I want to know. Let us know down below. What do you think?
Confused.
Yeah.
I think that if you have the DC streaming app, you're probably not the kind of casual fan. Like, luckily, they're catering to their audience, which is why this show is not on the CW.
Yeah.
Because
they're
that
cowards.
and that, but also, if anybody's watching this on the CW, they'd be like,
What?
Where's the hotness in that?
Right. Honestly, I really, in Crisis of Infinite Earths, I really want these characters to interact with our CW characters.
Please.
I don't know how it would happen. I really want it.
I really want it too.
It'd be so.
I kind of want it also.
Yeah, it'd be so weird.
But so we get our intro, our post-apocalyptic moment, and they
suck up
blow
their
it. Chief's gone.
Yeah.
Crazy Jane jumps in, which was a cool moment for her. I
Yeah.
appreciated that because it was like I going into this episode after episode 1, I didn't dislike her.
Yeah.
I was just on the fence, and seeing her make that sacrifice, I'm like, cool. There's a lot more to that character. Not just the 74 personalities inside of her. There's more to Jane, and I want to learn more about her.
I really needed that after the moment where Rita's rolling down the street as the Blob.
Yeah.
And Jane's like, stop, you bitch, stop moving. Like, she's just like screaming mean things at her. And I'm like, you're not helpful. Why are you part of this team? Like, what can you do?
Speaking of the Blob thing, I really liked that because it's cool. In comics, I think Elastigirl just grows big. That's it.
For like 60 years, that's all she did.
Yeah, so I like that now it's like, no, she's basically becomes the Blob from the old monster movies. And it's like, that's great. That's a cool interpretation of the character.
What are you
What a
guys
nightmare.
feeling is the consistency? Like, I'm confused is this a sticky situation? Do
I
you
wouldn't
leave remnants of yourself on the street?
I wouldn't want to be rolled over by it. I'm going to put it that way.
I think stress ball. Like a stress ball in a microwave.
Well, because I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking more like oatmeal. But then when we get to the situation where has to be squeezed through the bag like frosting,
So
but you
good.
see her eyeballs still, I was like, huh. So stuff is still there. Like
Yeah.
her eyeballs can't mold away.
She's like that's like a naked body, but if you just like stomped on it until it was like flat on the ground like a cartoon.
So what can't leave? Is it just the eyeballs?
Oh, I couldn't answer that.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do like the dynamic that you've got her and Negative Man who are kind of not on board with any of this.
So why do you think that do you think we're going to find out more about their history?
I think they've been there the longest.
Are they
from the
BFFFF?
timelines,
As
probably.
best you can be in their situation.
Yeah, and I think they're probably both the most ashamed of their situation. You know?
That's when we're talking about episode 1. The thing that stood out to me is that Negative Man's a coward,
we throw up Negative Man?
yeah, we got a picture of him.
I didn't get that.
That he's a coward. He is. He wouldn't. He came from a time where, because this is spoiler filled now.
Yeah.
He was secretly gay or bi or what have you. He had an affair.
Yeah.
And he hid that from his wife and his child. And then he couldn't make a decision of where he wanted to go. And I know it's a different time, so it's more difficult. And then when things got bad, he ran away and he didn't deal with any of it. And now his family is dead and he is never going to deal with it. And then you see him being a coward when what happens when Rita like explodes out of the store? Where does he go? He runs, and his negative persona, whatever that is, the space ghost, makes him not run away, makes him have to stay there and deal with his problem.
I love his space ghost with the bus situation every time he's trying to.
That's exactly.
too.
Yeah, he tries to run away,
I didn't
and it
take
doesn't
it
let
as
him.
Coward. I took it as like the most version of scared, which I guess can cause somebody to be cowardly.
Yeah.
He has cowardice. Maybe he's not fully. He's going to overcome that, I guess. But
I totally got it. Like I totally got what was going on, but like I was talking about in our episode 1 review, my issue is that I need more from him. It can't just be like, okay, he is filling our LGBTQ plus quota, and we're just gonna let you think that because that at that time he is cowardly. Like I need more to his story than that. I need to know more.
Yeah,
which we're on episode 2, so
exactly.
hopefully I will.
I think I have enough faith in this show that you will, and I think they're investing his arc, which is cool because Negative Man's always been one of my favorites on the Doom Patrol. So I'm glad the way they're fleshing him out. I'm glad that we're spending time with him. I'm glad that once again they nailed his costume. He looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, he does look so cool. It's just
but-
he's the slower burn right now.
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting entitled as a millennial to be like, give me more. What's the rest of his story? Because Matt Palmer's so good, and the
so
character's
good.
so cool.
I did like getting ahead just a tiny bit, but when we get to the end of this episode where he is actually. And I admit, this is the point where you can see him overcoming his fears, where he looks in the mirror and he says, we have to talk, and he has to deal with something deep down inside of him. Literally. And I love that.
And that's amazing.
And I love that he has not had to deal with this problem, and we're going to see that. And I do want to know more about him.
His personality.
About,
who is he?
what is his name?
I also want to know more about the
What's his name?
What's Negative Man's name?
Negative
I don't
Man's
know.
name. What is Negative Man's name? Hold on.
Larry Trainer.
There it is.
Larry.
And I like that he's going to have to
Larry is
come
such
to.
That's a good name.
He was going to have to. The negative person inside of him is a different person that he's going to have to communicate with, because that's been a part of the comics as well.
Now, the biggest part of this episode was finally the introduction of our last main cast member we're getting, Cyborg, played by
Joivan Wade.
Man, can I just say I love that we talked about this, but the DC Universe app is really leaning into Cyborg's our dude. He's the main Justice League member that on this team, and on Young Justice he's finally been introduced. Watch that show, by the way. It's amazing this season. It's always amazing. Mm-hmm. But I love that, right off the bat, they show you how cool Cyborg can be. Him messing with the ATM and, getting him, hey, if you want your money, you can get it. No problem. But, you have to let her go. Scene. It was so cool seeing him talk to his dad. I love that. And I think, practically speaking, this might be the best way you can do the costume.
Yeah.
Even though it's not what I exactly want for the character, I don't hate it.
You get why
I don't
they
hate
did
it. I get why they did it. And when we get a moment to see what his accident looks like, boy, howdy, sweet Christ, he went through a lot.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. I think that this actor is awesome, and exactly what you said is why I'm concerned. We are pushing him in the TV verse so hard right now. Cyborg, he is DC's guy. I'm concerned for our movies that we don't do that unless we know that they're going away. And I love Ray Fisher also, and I love Cyborg. And remember, initially the DC slated Cyborg was going to be coming out in 2020. Now it's not even on their slate. This does not bode well for our movie universe. So we're going to have to just be satisfied here. And if I have to be satisfied here, he's so good.
Yeah, and also Ray Fisher's on True Detective, so I'm hoping we'll see him more in other things because he's so good.
I know he's amazing, but I want a Cyborg movie eventually. I want a Cyborg Flash team up movie.
Well, it's funny because
that'd be cool.
They've been trying ever since New 52. They've been trying to sell people on Cyborg as like Justice League material, and it hasn't been until Young Justice and now this. It's like, oh, I'm on board. Mm-hmm. I'm on board with Cyborg in this new role.
Yeah. I've been on board since the DCU run where Cyborg finally got his own solo comic, and they really explore what it's like to be him. He doesn't live a good life. Basically, everyone else in the Justice League, for the most part, I'm trying to think, has a good life. Mm-hmm. Everyone does. He, though, has a lot to deal with, not just only being a cyborg, and he's constantly plugged into the internet 24/7. It's a hellscape. What you call
good life. Like, obviously, Batman's got his issues.
But he does have a billionaire.
He has money. He for sure has money.
He could stop right now, and he could still be a billionaire.
Yeah, but he still would have 2 dead parents.
He would, but Cyborg's got a dead parent and a bad dad. And
let's weigh our options.
Yes.
Would you rather?
Hold on, real quick. It's interesting because it's implied. It's implied that there's some duplicitous stuff going on with his dad, like we did with Robotman, where maybe there's been selective representation of the material. One thing, another small critique I'll give the show is there's so much fridging. Literally everybody has a loved one, majority of them a woman in their past that has been killed indirectly by whatever's going on in their situation. I guess it's okay because it's literally everybody on the team. But it is one of those like, I guess.
But that kind of feels accurate for their age group.
Yeah.
Like you probably would have somebody, and I thought it was a really cool twist that. What was the word that you used for
fridging? Yeah, it was a term I think it was coined by Gail Simone, where it's like it was brought up because Kyle Rayner, who was the new Green Lantern at the time, came home to find out that his new supervillain Major Force had cut up his girlfriend and shoved her in the fridge.
Oh,
and it's
okay.
Used,
that's not what I mean. Then.
It's used as an example of typically a male hero has to have a love interest or another female in their life murdered or killed to motivate them, and it's complicated a little bit because Negative Man has a boyfriend
too.
But he's had a guy in his life, but it's a love interest. That maybe shouldn't have touched him when he crashed, is the impression I get from that. But it's similar, like Robotman has his wife, Cyborg has his mom.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say, I thought I was going to use that word, but it's not at all what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is
totally opposite. Yeah.
I like that he is not able to, that he's protecting himself by remembering different things that happen, that they all are probably at some point protecting themselves, but that Robotman eventually does realize via Jane or whatever happens that his daughter is alive.
Yeah.
That to me was such a twist.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming, and I love when I don't see something coming, and I'm so excited about the future of what that means.
Yeah.
And I like seeing Robotman and Jane working together, or him trying so hard to be better.
Is that a romantic thing?
No,
I hope not.
I'm getting father-daughter stuff.
I'm
You are?
getting that too.
Yeah. Okay, I was not.
I had a similar, because she grabs him in the junk at one point. Mm-hmm. One of her personalities.
Father-daughter stuff.
Yeah, like
complicated.
Maybe. I'm hoping it's more father-daughter thing, just because I don't need everybody to make out. Mm-hmm.
Some people, but not everybody.
Not everybody. But another cool thing with the show is the way it handles its cast, because Robotman and Cyborg's relationship is very specifically contentious, especially since one is literally a newer, better version of the other one. Yeah. And then we see Cyborg's relationship with Crazy Jane and Robotman's relationship, Elasti-Woman and Negative Man, their dynamic, everybody, and that's what you want to see in an ensemble, is how the different characters bounce off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I love I love seeing how Cyborg is like he's basically like weeks away of joining the Justice League, basically. He needs to do like a few more saves and then like we're good to go. And I love that idea that like he can't be a football player anymore, but he can get recruited for the Justice League, and then his dad will be happy with him.
Yeah, and then his dad's kind of pushing him for that.
His dad's a dick, and I do like the idea of having Silas, like in like Young Justice, you see this, but also in other stories where Silas is like, not a good dad, like not like he really sidelines Victor for the most part, and then in this, like really leaning into the fact that like he is more about winning than he is about making sure his son's happy.
Yeah,
it's so hard to say though, not a good dad, because like it's the only reason he can exist. So
it's his dad. His dad taking care of him.
I mean,
at best, it's complicated.
When you have it's like when you have a parent and you're past 18 years old and you're living in their house and they're still a jerk to you, but like they're still putting a roof over your head. No. They're the only reason you're able to live.
I'd say the difference, I think there's similarities when it comes to like Niles Calder, where it's like, hey, maybe you should have let Robotman die because he jackknifed the car and basically, I'm pretty sure his body was mush. Yeah. But then you made him not die and live on without his wife. Like that's bad. And then he hid his daughter from him. Yeah. And
yet I still kind of root for Niles Calder.
I do too.
That's the magic of Timothy Dalton.
I don't at all. When you guys said that before, I don't root for him at all. Yeah. But I did root for him appearing more, and I was upset that he didn't appear more in this episode.
I did like him and Cyborg having a relationship.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm curious about that.
I also love the idea of taking these weirdo teams and dropping a Justice League member in there. So like when they go inside the donkey and they're facing their, and also great, because a lot of times when these shows get in kind of like the jokey, take the piss out of it, it kind of like doesn't ruin the experience, but it's like, why am I watching this if it's so stupid? But having the bad guy do it allows you're naturally contentious towards that notion because you're enjoying the show. And he's kind of like, I guess we're going up our own ass on the second episode. All right, here's your guys' backstories. But he points out that like Cyborg's been through this stuff. He knows what's happening. You know what I mean? He's not necessarily going to be tricked by it. And it's like, that's of all the characters that could join this team that are of that caliber of hero would be Cyborg. And it's a cool take on use of that character in this environment.
I'm so on board with that whole like world that Mr. Nobody controls, whatever this is, like the weird crosses for not dead people, but because they apparently everyone's fine at the end of this except for Niles, like he's somewhere else.
Yeah,
but
where?
The whole town rebuilt itself.
Yeah, reconstituted.
Right out of the donkey.
Probably smells like crap.
Exploded.
But every crevice, because every part of the town went in there.
We got to mention, we got to see more of Jane's abilities. I got you. We'll go with it. There we go. Where I don't know what personality this was, where she starts generating words as weapons.
Yeah.
It's like, more of this, please. I like this. This is my kind of weird. I like this.
And we talked about this before, but the whole Robotman going through Niles' files and finding the tapes on all the different personalities, and the idea of the underground, which is like, again, a lot of like split vibes where it's like it's
the light and all that stuff.
It's unfortunate that it just came out, not split, but
glass.
Because we just did this with somebody who's the best in the world at what he was doing. Not that she wasn't great, but like.
But James McAvoy.
We just did this.
Yeah.
And so that's a little tough, but I like the idea that Katie is this like kind of mysterious one. She doesn't like answering questions, and I like that Cliff's on top of it, like at least trying to be a better dad, or at least trying to be better to her, because he knows that like I can't fix anything about me.
Katie's the fire one.
Katie doesn't like answering the questions though.
Yeah, but she is also the fire one.
She is the fire. I couldn't tell if Katie was the fire one.
No, that's when he figures out. Remember, he is in the elevator and he's like, crap, because he realizes that Katie doesn't like answering questions because she turns into the fire. So he knows.
Gotcha.
I was confused on how he put those
that
pieces
together. Yeah, he made a leap of logic.
But
what I got from watching that is that he knew that Katie was going to be hostile immediately. I don't think he knew fire person. In my head, this probably isn't what it is, but this could be kind of a fun way, that the other dominant personality of like the underground is Katie. And Katie, since Jane can kind of call up anybody she wants on her end, Katie can call up anybody she wants on her opposite end, and one of them happens to be Fire Girl, and the other one is turning words into weapons. But hey, whatever, however it works, I'm gonna be happy with it, because words into weapons is the coolest power I've ever seen.
I want more of that, like the roach, the words as weapons going inside the donkey.
Giant.
More, please.
Well, that's the part of us that loved Legion.
Yeah,
it is.
That's
it is.
what wants that.
When she turns into the giant with the fire head, it's like, calm down, whatever this is. I don't need this person out. I could do less of Hammerhead. I could do less of
Not
super.
a big Hammerhead.
No,
fan.
I've heard just got a sailor's mouth.
Do you know how many of them there are?
A bunch. Maybe they should release that map that he
Yeah,
found
yeah, I
in the
need
thing,
that.
so we know.
64 distinct personalities.
There it is.
See, that
Good
will
call on the Wikipedia page.
that will get tough.
Yeah. But always changing it up. Baby Doll was a very interesting. I liked how Cyborg tried to work his way around trying to figure out how, if she could say what happened. You did not like that.
No, I did. I'm concerned about the future of this character if she doesn't have any ability to control who she is when.
I can see that.
Like,
I mean, it could get old.
We
pretty
need
quick.
her to be able to figure that out at some point so that she can develop any kind of reliable relationship with anybody. Friendship, mentorship,
Any ship.
any ship.
I want to.
If
see
you want
more
a shipper.
Jane. I want more Jane.
Yeah.
I want to see like Jane. But
Jane. And we don't even know who that is yet, so it was hard when she was switching characters for me, except when they were that distinct, like you're a ball of fire, I know you're somebody else, or you're literally a toddler, I know you're somebody else. But it was kind of like, oh, which bitchy girl is this? Like, who's giving a lot of attitude? Like the one that was talking to the cop and said whatever. Like,
I'm guessing Hammerhead.
Probably.
But was it, or is it one of the other 64?
Yeah.
Because maybe there's another one that's also.
Maybe we'll get a whole episode with all the different personalities.
Sitting in a room together. It's a big party. And they go into her brain. They've already done this.
That's the benefit of having a more serialized, having a show, because we could have an episode that deals just with Jane. And I think these superhero properties, because they come from a comic book medium that is serialized, I think they benefit from this type of storytelling. And I like watching a show that's taking advantage of that.
Here's 2 questions for you. We go into
One.
First up. So we go into Mr. Nobody World, Mr. Nobody Land.
Yeah,
Daniel
inside the
Street.
donkey.
Why not? And we learn more about Rita and Negative Man. You mentioned that his lover, Negative Man, Larry's, possibly got radiation poisoning from
Doesn't look great.
Larry. Or it's a nightmare. I couldn't tell, but
Yeah.
you're probably right that it might be because of what's inside
What's
of him.
going on with Larry, yeah.
Or from the crash, you know, something like that. But did Rita have a kid? Is that what we're led to believe? Because there is
I believe so.
there's a crib there.
It was not completely clear to me.
It seems
But
like
that-
she abandoned a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is going to be, man, they really these characters have been through it.
Yeah,
They've been
they
through
sure
it.
have.
I've definitely had nightmares where you're walking down the street, you step on a sewer grate, and I fell in. And that's what her whole life is. And I get real heebie-jeebies when they do her stuff. It's not a way that's going to make me stop watching, but she's so quick to recommend making a squeeze tube out of her own body.
Yeah. She wasn't that quick to it. She didn't want to.
She didn't want
If
to,
you
but she
guys-
didn't bring it up.
But she
did-
came up with it.
Yeah.
If you guys go inside of a donkey and once you land, somebody's telling you to walk forward and do all this, are you listening or do you not?
I don't know, but I do love that they had the museum headset things going on. Just those little touches. And then you see the pictures, and one of them is the roach and the little memorial. Do you listen? I mean, what else are you going to do? Hang out in the swamp?
Exactly. What else are you going to... I'm pretty sure that since it's his world, there's nothing else you could do, so you
Yeah.
kind of
You
have
just
to.
kept repeating it.
Also, it sounds like the voice sounds like Alan Tudyk, so I'm like, well, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe this is going to turn out okay.
Also, so far, Mr. Negative's negative ghost, Space Ghost. I'm just going to keep calling him Space Ghost. He's pretty great. Like, he's
Yeah.
pretty good so far, unless the radiation killed Larry's friend.
Whoopsie.
Oopsie poopsie. So far, he saved the whole town.
Yeah.
And he got them out of there, and he's made it so Larry doesn't run away. So
What is the deal at the very end where he's like on the bed and let it go? I'm going to let you talk or do
They're
something.
leaving each other notes.
they leave each other notes so they can talk
You know,
to
when
each
you
other.
passed a note to somebody in school, but
Yeah,
that
but
person
why-
also lives inside of you as a negative spirit.
Not
You
well, what
know.
are they doing, but why was that so different than what had been happening? Because he was allowing it to happen
I don't
for
know
the
that he
first
was
time?
willing it to happen. I think he was just leaving a note in case it did happen. And they're trying to figure out a way to build a relationship.
Because they can't talk,
Yeah.
which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Such a nightmare. And also, it seems
happens.
like he sleeps in a pretty locked up room.
Oh yeah, there's a like decontamination chamber and all that
There
stuff.
was?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It sucks to meet all these people.
It does.
The other part
Cyborg's
of the episode,
okay.
Cyborg and Beast Boy were pretty all right.
Yeah.
yeah, I loved the part of the episode where just some characters are like, nope, not gonna bother with this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
people are running around the house and they're like, not my problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the full fight.
Yep.
Robotman's getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, nah, we're going to go have a
Re-
picnic. This
Yeah,
is fine.
exactly.
Rita's like, no,
No.
go ahead.
I love, and again, that's what I love. I like that these characters have different opinions and different goals and different ways of interacting with each other. And it's like, yeah, it's more ensemble. This is what an ensemble show should be. Why aren't more like this?
Mm-hmm. I would like we have an image right now up. If you would throw it up for just a second, I
Yeah.
just wanted to show because the Cyborg's like chest piece. Still haven't seen anything underneath the sweatshirt and the sweatpants, but I get it. It's expensive, and right now that looks okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see what it looks like.
I'm also glad. I'm glad that they did it.
We will.
I'm glad it's not Smallville where it's like the cybernetics are underneath the body. Just go for it. Come on. If you got Robotman running around, you can give Joivan Wade a plastic thing to put on his face. You know what I mean? And we're fine.
It's not the worst. It's
I
not
like
the best. The only thing that would make me feel just a little bit better is if the eye moved. And I know that's hard, and maybe CGI budget couldn't allow for that. But when he looks around, it's like, yeah, shouldn't that one be doodaddling around?
What
like,
would you rather, Robotman be able to move his mouth or Cyborg be able to move his eye?
Cyborg. I'd say Cyborg because he's
Interesting.
supposed to be more advanced.
Opposite. I would say Robotman. I'd want Robotman's face to be able to
I'd
watch.
want it, but he's all rusted over, so if stuff wasn't
Beggars
moving
can't
right.
be choosers, guys.
But you asked us to choose.
I'm saying, you said I want it, and I said you have to pick one. Beggars can't be choosers twice.
That
And
is
that is the saying.
That is the
That
saying.
is the saying. What would you guys rate the second episode?
I hope out of donkeys.
Did I give the
farts.
first one a 9?
You gave it a
Yeah.
9.
So then 9.5. Because this one was slightly better and so good.
Again, intro graphic, so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Makes me so happy.
Is that what you rated? Intro graphics so cool.
So cool. Out of 10 donkey farts into other universes, 9.5.
More, man.
Yeah.
I want more. I hope they incorporate other Grant Morrison. Like I hope Animal Man shows up,
Why not?
and then he could cross over with Swamp Thing.
Also, because Animal
my
Man's
God.
quick rundown. Animal Man. Was
Animal Man, the boring Animal Man is he just has animal powers, but it's nonsensical. Like a bird can fly, so he can fly, but it's not like he grows wings or anything. He can just
Ooh.
fly. Cool Grant Morrison version of it. That run, classic. It's an amazing run. At a certain point, he finds out he's in a comic.
Yeah.
And he has to, and the best issue, one of the best issues of any comic of all time, is he actually confronts Grant Morrison about all the miserable shit he put him through. And so, with the way they're projecting Doom Patrol, he'd fit right in.
Yeah.
Is it like Vixen where you don't actually morph, but like your spirit morphs
Yes,
into
but
it?
he
Or does
doesn't
his
even-
body change?
No,
But
the body
later-
does
Like
not
Beast
change.
Boy. So not like Beast Boy, more like
Vixen, but he doesn't have the excuse of the totem. It just happens.
And-
Aliens gave him the
And it
ability.
has to be a nearby thing.
Yeah.
It has to be a nearby thing.
Yeah,
It's
but
so silly.
I really like. I think it's called the Coyote Gospel. That's another great issue of that run. There's an omnibus of that run. There's an omnibus of Doom Patrol. I highly recommend checking them out. I can guarantee you, as weird as this show is, those are weirder.
Animal Man would be actually super duper cool for this show.
Just any of those characters that you can't like. God bless this app, because where else would we have gotten the show? Honestly,
I really
I don't know.
This is going to go to Netflix as well after, since
I
Titans did
hope
that
it does
Well,
great.
this is,
trajectory.
and I also think it's doing that in overseas sooner.
I think it has to finish airing U.S. and then it makes its way
okay.
internationally. At least that's what Titans did. I'm going to
Yeah.
assume that's how it's going to work in the
Right.
future. And please, all international viewers, go watch it.
check it out.
Please, I would like way more of these shows. These shows are the ones that like nerds want. And it would, I can't believe if like a new viewer watched this and then got into comics, like amazing. That'd make me so happy.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think in the comments down below, and make sure you rate the episode as well out of 10 donkeys in the comments. But
Is
also,
it out of the donkeys or the donkey farts?
Yes.
Because you keep changing it. It
You
depends on.
do kind of keep hearing it.
sorry, I don't want to be weird, but I forgot what show we're talking about. So out of 10, donkey farts.
Farts.
There you go. But don't forget to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our Patreon, which you can click over there,
What?
over there.
What?
Patreon.com/onlystupidanswers to check out our live reviews of these on Thursdays, depending on when you're watching this. And you guys can join us, which is super duper cool, and join our Discord. Lots of big benefits there. Roxy, where can they find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
Boom. DJ?
DJ Talks Trash.
At Sam Basher, or Only Stupid Answers on Twitter,
You got the mouse from Stupid.
or onlystupidanswers.com for merch, podcast, You can even send us emails.
What?
But that's it, gang. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.